welcome everybody in. This is the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. As you well know, we are back. I am Drew Gwillem. I will be your host for today. Back at it. It feels good to be on this side of the table again.
It's
been a while.
Yeah.
And with me, as always, Andrew Valentine.
I'm bleeding right now.
Why?
Because the studio's trying to kill me.
Because he's a baby.
Oh, because the TV's working?
Yeah, the
Yes.
TV's working.
As usual.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Something about...
It's Thursdays, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
and then it was Wednesday.
And then it was Wednesdays, and then there was a whole time where all week it just didn't work. We're hoping to fix this one. We really are.
Sometimes you just can't win.
Yeah, just not now.
Kind of like the Bulls.
Yeah.
Speaking of, let's just dive right into that.
Let's do that. Yes, please.
Yeah, now the non-winning Bulls in hell, I believe. In basketball hell once again.
I would say so.
Yeah, it's funny how,
or at least they're like on the precipice of entering those gates.
True. This team might need to get a little bit back to basics.
Oh yeah,
because they are struggling. They'll come out and look good against really good teams, and then at times against poor teams like Charlotte tonight.
Yeah,
not that they're a poor team; they're just not a very great team.
I mean, they're what, second or third worst in the league right now, as far as record goes.
Okay, so they're poor.
Yeah,
and they may end up going out and losing tonight.
Yes,
so
it's very possible.
The Bulls have fallen to 23 and 27 while sitting outside the playoffs at 11th.
Oh,
jeez. Do you see this team being able to make a push and maybe get into the play-in, or you think this is just going to be we're down and out and not going to make the playoffs this year?
Let me just check my notes here. No, this is going to go more bad. They're 50 games in. At this point,
we know who they are.
We know who they are. I don't think it's getting any better at this point. If you get into the play-in tournament, congratulations, but I don't even know if they can win that game at this point.
Right.
Like the teams ahead of them, I don't necessarily think they might be better per se, but I mean, at least if anything, you can say they can compete a lot better than what we've seen from the Bulls thus far. So
you would hope so.
Yeah, you would hope so. But after watching that Clippers game, there are so many issues going on right now, be it players being vocal with each other, knowing the plays. I'm starting to now question on Billy Donovan, unfortunately, at this point. Like, I think you kind of have to. It's all stuff that points in the direction of something needs to change ASAP. And it may have to be like a tear down type of situation.
God, if it was that, I wish they would have just done it already.
Yeah, exactly. Why are we waiting so long?
Tank out and hopefully be able to manage their way into a top pick.
That would be nice. Yes,
Tom.
Student in the back.
Yes, your class president accepts your question.
Everything I've heard right now is Lonzo Ball.
He's not coming back.
He's gone to 6 doctors because his knee is still bothering him.
Yep.
I don't even know where to go with that situation.
No.
So do you think? I mean, you look at the team last year. That team was dynamite up until his injury, and then his injury happened, and they went downhill. Do you think he is the key factor to this team being successful?
Maybe not the key factor.
Yeah.
He's not the main cog that makes them whole. I mean, he makes them whole, but he's not the main piece.
He runs the show.
Yes, he's the guy that greases the wheels and makes everything kind of flow the way it should be. He's got great court vision.
Yep.
He's like those full court passes he would make from the baseline or sideline out of bounds and just to the open guy as an outlet pass, and it gets you to easy buckets.
And those perimeter defenses, like you need that help, and the three pointers.
Yeah, the clip he was shooting threes at was higher than he has in his career so far.
Yeah, he's a classic 3-and-D guard that you need out there on the court, and not having him
player.
Yeah.
So is he like a Rajon Rondo, where he wasn't the key piece, but without Rajon, I don't think the Celtics win that championship.
Yeah, just with a hell of a lot better shooting.
Yes.
Yes. But realistically, like if Lonzo can eventually come back and he can return to the form that he was before he got injured, which is a big if at this point.
Yeah.
Seeing that he's gone to 6 doctors and no one seems to know what's wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear Billy come out recently and say he's not close,
Yeah,
that's
rough.
still troubling.
And that's the
still
other
very
thing is
troubling.
like, Andrew, you said Billy Donovan, you don't know if you can trust him anymore. I don't know if it's him is the issue. I don't know if they're putting a team around him to succeed. And you have the opportunity to go out and get other guys. And I don't know if that front office is doing it. It's starting to look like the old front office. And that comes down to the owner. And in this way, why are we still allowing Jerry to have any say? I know Michael would rather run this team than the White Sox. So why isn't Michael fully stepping in and taking over as the Bulls owner and Jerry just sitting on the sidelines enjoying life until he goes?
I mean, that's because it's Jerry's money. That's the problem. Like, Michael's the CEO, but Jerry still technically counts as the owner because it's his cash.
I don't know. Maybe you know more, but as far as what I remember hearing, that Jerry had kind of taken a step back from this Bulls team and allowed Michael to do his thing.
He's letting his son be in charge of things right now. Jerry's just like, look, I own the team, but Michael's the CEO. He's hiring the people in the front office to make the decisions. So, and it's not, I don't think Billy Donovan's a bad coach, but I think it's one of those things where the Bulls, they clearly built a team that has a balanced level, I would say, of veterans and young players. Donovan is more of a guy, I think, that works better when there's a group of young guys and teaching them to grow. So if he were back in OKC right now, like, this would probably be the perfect situation for him. Meanwhile, he's with the Bulls where, when they got Chris Paul, things were good, but he was the one veteran with, like, Steven Adams, and it was like a bunch of young dudes they were trying to figure out. This is a team where it's half veteran, half young guys, and you're trying to figure out how you can balance those guys out without saying, none of these guys really, a few of them need to grow, but the other half I don't need to worry about, which you would think, there's no problem with that. But I think then the problem becomes that his intuitions of wanting to coach have to change all of a sudden and say, so now we have to try and compete. And I don't know if that works. Plus, when you've got a guy like Zach LaVine, who I think is playing that more selfish role now more than ever, and it's starting to show, I think that's making problems. It's making waves.
It's reminding me of the Rose Butler situation.
Yes.
It's like we're both alphas here, but
Right.
Jimmy's obviously better than Rose at that period of time, and he's like, no, it's my team now, and Rose still thinks it's his, and you saw that disconnect on the court, and I think that's part of what we're seeing with this team now between Zach and DeMar.
Right. You paid me like a top player. It should be my team.
Right.
By that right, I don't know how he's thinking, but I'm thinking, my belief is that he's thinking like that. But DeMar is clearly the classic veteran. You know, he's leading the team in assists, for crying out loud, on top of leading them in scoring as the small forward. Like, that shouldn't be happening, but it has to, because he knows he has to distribute as much as he wants to score.
Yeah. We have another question over here.
Actually, we have a comment. King B-Mac at the again. I think Billy is a bigger part of the problem. The team can't hold double-digit leads. They continue to fall into ISO ball, beating good teams and losing to bad teams. This speaks to problem with coaching.
I can agree with that to an extent. At the same time, which we don't really fully know, if the players are kind of taking it upon themselves to do ISO ball on the court and not running the plays that are called, it's a very possible situation as well. But I agree, something has broken down here with this team on the court and on the bench with the head coach, because things don't look whole.
Communication's not happening.
Right. And what we had thought and seen last season, and even maybe to the start of this season, was this team was building chemistry and had built that and was communicating with each other and getting along and playing. And now we're kind of seeing the opposite of that, where that affects everyone.
Yeah. Frustration is now becoming the absolute boiling point for this team, and it's starting to show, and the cracks are starting to become much wider to the point where it's almost like Grand Canyon, where can we even fix this, unfortunately?
So with those widening cracks and not being unsure whether this is going to work the way it is or can it be fixed, do you think it's time for the Bulls to consider doing a little trimming on these trees that we have, taking down these branches, maybe consider moving players like Veen, Caruso, Vucevic, and more? To me, I think like clearly the Vucevic trade was a failure.
Yes.
It has not worked out the way
It's a
they
win for
anticipated.
Orlando.
Yeah.
In a big way.
And I was listening to Russillo on the radio with Waddle and Silva just the other day, and he was saying you wouldn't get back not even one of those pieces for Vooch, what they traded away, which would be Wendell Carter,
Franz
Wagner, and what was it, another pick?
It was a second-round draft pick, if I'm not mistaken.
And you probably wouldn't get any, but he was saying you wouldn't get one of those things back.
No, and there's no way to get that caliber of player. Like, obviously, who knows if the Bulls would have even drafted Franz Wagner, but if they would have stuck that way, if that would have been the pick, like, clearly the Bulls would have been, I don't think they would have been, like, let's say, worse, but they certainly probably would be, like, 500 at this point, because he's certainly been a talented player. And Wendell, who knows, right? The problem is, like, not to go away from the Bulls, but the whole city of Chicago, it seems like you come here outside of a few guys that have been able to excel beyond expectations and win championships, be it with the Blackhawks and all that other stuff. It seems like you get drafted here, you have mediocrity here, you go somewhere else, and it's like, oh, I have new life. Particularly with the Bulls, the Bears, the Cubs, and the White Sox have had all those kind of moments where it's like, go somewhere else, find success. Not all the time, but it seems like it's a Chicago theme almost that it happens.
So do you think there's a chance that any of these guys get moved here? I've heard the Bulls come out and say they're not looking to make big changes, but
if
who knows? They could just be noise.
Yeah.
Tom, you wait your damn turn.
You know
okay?
what?
Time out.
Wait your damn
You're
turn.
in timeout.
I have a question.
You're behind the scenes, Tom. Okay.
I can't
That
even
means
see
you don't
your
cut the
beautiful
class
face.
president off.
I can't even see the
Student.
cute president's face.
Student.
I can't even see the president's face.
It was so quiet.
There's a purple wall in my face.
Why are
Over
you
a
yelling?
year, we didn't have any shouting, any yelling. You come back in, and this is what happened.
Stop the shouting.
My
fans
blood pressure's
want
already
all the
going up.
shouting.
I gotta have migraine going.
They love me.
Yeah, that's true.
Excuse me. Next time, raise your hand again.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Can you see my hand?
I could last time when you're
Use
moving
the
around. There
other
it is.
hand.
It's awkward.
Yes, Tom.
If they do move anybody, what do they get and who do they actually move?
I think that
That was basically the question I just asked him, but thanks for cutting us off to ask the same question.
You know what?
Andrew, go ahead.
I'm going to ask every question I want.
fine, whatever. I think they're gonna have to move Vooch. I think you can at least get prospects back, but you're not gonna get top tier prospects.
No.
You're gonna have to take
Not at this point.
lower level kind of tier guys. I mean, I don't know who you could get at this point. If he does want to go back to Orlando,
Unless he's a package with something else.
him and Kobe White and like the Portland pick, because I know they're talking about maybe moving off that because it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now.
Sounds like the deals they've gotten for Kobe have been less than what they want to give him up for.
Yeah, they
so.
want like a first round pick, which is not
That's
going to
insane.
happen.
There's no way.
They want like 2 second round picks or a first round pick of like what it probably would be a team going to contend for a championship, and that's just probably not going to happen.
I don't see that being a thing.
Outside of him, I think Levine has a good shot of possibly being traded. I know he wants to get back to Los Angeles. I think at this point, I know Rich Paul's his guy.
I get it. Sign the deal because you want to be here, but
Right. But then all of a sudden you're frustrated and you're angry, so now you want to go. Like,
I mean, I'm glad he did, so we'll get something in return for him. To see him go for nothing would have been awful.
Yeah. But they're talking about like they want to do the Russell Westbrook thing. The only benefit of that though would be that the Lakers would be giving 2027 and 2029 first round picks unprotected. Like there's no deal in that where they could say, no, it's like top 10 protect. No, they have to be fully unprotected. And by that point, the Lakers might be terrible enough to, but you don't know what's in the draft at that point.
Right.
And you don't know how the team's going to look at that point. So you're taking a huge gamble.
Right.
That's the thing. So I think they're the two right now. They're going to be highly targeted. I I definitely think Caruso's a high possibility too. He could bring in a first round pick. He's valuable enough right now.
He is super valuable to a championship team.
I think he's like top 5 right now for most wanted. It's him and like OJ Anunoby, and I know we're gonna get to those guys, but like they're the top 2 guys because everyone's like, we got defense, we need defense, we need guards, we need defense. There's 2 guys right there that everybody's pining for right now, and they're willing to give up a lot.
Well, at this point, that may be something you have to look into.
You have to, and I know people are going to probably ask for Patrick Williams. I think you have to at least take calls.
If
you have to at least take calls.
At the same time, it's something that you are trading at its lowest value.
Yeah.
Somebody you picked at a 4th overall pick, you expected to be a stud.
Yeah.
Hasn't worked out like that so far.
No. Our guy B-Mac also says, I guess they could get a first for Vooch. I think they could, but like
it's gonna be tough.
You're gonna have to send him to a team that like is in desperate need of like he's gonna have to play like a stretch 4. I mean, or unless he's gonna be happy being a rebounding center. But I don't know where he could go at this point. I mean, who would need him? I honestly, Brooklyn? I mean, when are you getting back from Brooklyn?
Not sure.
I mean, I'll tell you what. If you want to trade him for Nick Claxton, by all means, I'll take Claxton in a heartbeat.
It sounded like Brooklyn wanted to add a big man with Claxton
exactly
for the playoff.
That's
run.
the thing. And then what? You're getting they got Seth Curry, right?
Yeah,
and
I think
a few other pieces.
right.
And I know they want to move off of Seth. I don't know. It just
it's a tricky situation, and the deadline day is coming. So we are going to find out very soon what this team and the rest of the league are going to be doing because February 9th is the deadline.
Yep.
There's interest all over for different guys. Clearly a couple of these Bulls players.
Offers are pouring in already like crazy.
Yeah. So what players do you see possibly being moved at the deadline throughout the league?
Yeah. Well, first, B-Mac also said never underestimate the stupidity of NBA GMs. That is so true.
Very, very, very true. Yeah.
B-Mac, I love you so much, man. That's great.
And Rudy Gobert?
Yeah.
Good.
Who
Good
also
point.
might be on the trade block, it sounds like.
Dude, how much should they give up for him?
5. I mean, if you count Walker Kessler, that's 5 first-round draft picks. Pat Bev, Jared Vanderbilt, who's been huge for the Jazz.
And you're not getting close to that. Nowhere close.
And somehow he's day-to-day barely playing, and they're still managing, they're 27, 25 right now? Oh, I guess you really didn't need him, did you, Minnesota? Come on. OJ Anunoby is the most interesting guy, obviously. I've heard, I think it was
6 or 7 teams were calling about him, it sounds like.
They're offering 3 first-round picks for him, it sounds like. Like, they're putting, and that's why I'm saying, like, Caruso might be able to get you back a solid first-round pick, maybe even 2. If you play it right, you might be able to get 2 out of him.
Somebody gets desperate.
Yeah, and I mean, OJ Anunoby's a really good player, and I think, and look, I will say this: if the Bulls, there's a slight chance that DeMar DeRozan would be maybe on the block. If he does want to go back to Toronto, I would be okay with saying, all right, OJ Anunoby, give us a few other picks and players, and let's call it a day. And you get your guy to compete with Siakam and Van Vliet and try and see if you can compete for a title. But Van Vliet's also on the block as well. So I don't know where Toronto's at at that point.
I saw something with the Bulls and with possibly a Van Vliet deal.
Exactly. I mean, and then speaking of Minnesota, obviously there's a possibility of D'Angelo Russell, I heard, possibly getting shipped out. He's sick and tired of Minnesota, it sounds like. He doesn't like to play third wheel, I guess, to them, or fourth wheel now, whatever you want to call him at this point. I mean, he just doesn't like the situation. So
one that's kind of interesting for me is Atlanta and John Collins.
Yes.
They have already lowered the price of him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that could be something where you want to swap some big man and you guys get Vooch.
John Collins is pretty good.
We could get John Collins back, and I don't know exactly what that deal would look like, but he's a young, springy player.
25.
Yeah.
He's on a deal already. You don't have to pay him just to take on that contract. I mean, Atlanta sounds like they're ready to start selling the farm. Like,
I know he's been a guy that's been in talks for, it seems like, years now.
It's like 3 years going on. They've been talking about trading him.
He hasn't sounded like he's fully happy there.
No.
So, change of scenery for him
Could be good.
And a young athletic player for the Bulls.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you can pull off a move like that, like there's a great possibility for you to have a core then that you can start building with, or at least hopes that you can start building with. I mean, and look, if it means that Patrick Williams has to go in that too, by all means, I think John Collins is still a young enough forward that you can work with that. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys on this list, but I think there's guys here too that, like Terry Rozier, I think is a guy you can wait maybe to the offseason to see if the price maybe comes down. Clarkson's not renewing his contract, so he may go free agency, right? I know Jay Crowder is still a guy out there that everybody's talking about. He's another defensive guy that everybody's bugging for.
Yep.
I just don't know what Phoenix is asking for, and I don't know what Phoenix is going to do either at this point, because they sound like they may start clearing house. Like they're taking calls on DeAndre Ayton. Apparently they're taking calls on Chris Paul. Like Devin Booker's supposedly coming back in the next couple of days, and he may have no teammates around him at all when he comes back. You know, oh damn, man, like everything we built here in Phoenix, I'm back by myself. What the hell?
Yeah, right.
And you still got Cam Johnson
Okay.
and Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
For what it's worth.
Yeah. Well,
So I will say it's going to be very interesting to watch how this whole thing plays out.
very interesting indeed.
Jeez.
It should be an exciting trade deadline. We've
Yeah.
had some flops lately, but there's been some exciting
I mean, last year was pretty
NBA
good.
trade deadlines. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
got
for the
the-
most
We
part.
got the James
yeah.
Harden, Ben Simmons trade last year, which, you know,
Sure.
for some it was like a win-win, you know.
Sure.
Some of us were just, God, it was so smiley all the way through, you know.
Yeah.
I won't say
well,
anymore.
we are going to find out how things are going to work out with the NBA trade deadline very, very soon.
Yes.
But when we come back, we have a couple football games we need to recap. Little AFC NFC title games.
Oh.
And our Super Bowl game is set, and we will get into that when we return on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
Man, I'm so hungry. I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that'll have you craving more? Taco Bell.
All right, can I get 20 tacos, please?
You got it.
Thanks, Taco.
De nada.
Good. That's it. Eat the tacos.
Taco Bell. Live más.
The Chicagoland area has a large number of lonely dogs currently filling shelter pens, just waiting to find a family. Nothing adds warmth to a home like a wagging tail and a warm pair of brown eyes. If you are considering adding a dog to your household, visit the Anderson Animal Shelter, where adoption counselors can assist you in selecting your new best friend. Make your house a home. Adopt a shelter dog. To see a current list of adoptees, visit their website at www.andersonanimalshelter.org or meet them in person at 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin. Don't have room in the home for a new furry family member? Donations of toys, collars, and soft or hard non-perishable dog food are always accepted and are greatly appreciated. All animals are spayed or neutered and are waiting with tails wagging to find a loving home. Visit 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin or www.andersonanimalshelter.org for more details.
And welcome back to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm still your class president and host, Drew Willem. Still the same guy, Andrew Valentin on this side.
I am.
And we have some football.
We
to get
do.
into.
Absolutely.
A couple games. One, not so good.
No.
There's some good, solid reasoning for it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, that first game was a mess. 49ers getting shellacked by the
Yeah.
Eagles, 7-31.
Yeah. That was bad. That was ugly.
Yeah. Philly defense had 54 total tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, and 3 fumble recoveries.
Where do we start?
I mean, they kind of
they had no quarterback.
Brock Purdy getting hurt early in this game and a serious injury.
Tore his UCL.
Yeah, very serious injury.
Yeah.
You have a journeyman,
Josh
Johnson coming in to replace him, and from there on out, there's not much you can expect.
Yeah, if you're not handing the ball off to Christian McCaffrey 10 times per series, it wasn't going anywhere, unfortunately. It's obvious. I have all the respect in the world for Josh Johnson. He's clearly a very good veteran. He knows the game. I'm sure he's going to be an incredible coach. I can absolutely wholeheartedly tell you that dude's going to be an amazing coach because his football intellect is awesome. Put him on the field, though, you saw he was dumping 95% of his passes to McCaffrey.
Right.
Like in a couple of screen passes to Tebow, and that's it.
And the other thing I noticed from this 49ers team was a lot of what seemed like mental mistakes, which you don't see a lot of from a Kyle Shanahan coach team.
Yeah.
And they were off the rails at times.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much.
I mean, if the game showed anything by the end of it, which if you didn't see the end of it, boy, it got ugly fast.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that Philadelphia was frustrating them. I think they were frustrated, obviously, when Purdy goes down. That's a big chunk of their offense that,
Reddick had himself a day.
Yes.
He got after the quarterback. He was making things uncomfortable in the backfield all game.
He's one of the best. He's still one of the best in the game for a reason.
Yeah.
And he came flying off that edge like every other great edge rusher you could find. I mean, and he's up there. He's not old, but, he's getting to that point where it's like, shouldn't he be slowing down? He looks like he's getting faster.
Right.
Which is the scary part. And the Eagles team has very little holes, so it's hard to beat them.
Yes, they are very good. Tom, thank you for being patient and raising your hand.
Well, first off,
you have a question?
Well, yeah, first off, you didn't finish your song. You should have ended it with "and 2 injured quarterbacks" for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. But
yeah, and Josh Johnson got hurt in this game too.
Yes,
and
he had a
went out,
concussion.
and Purdy had to come back in and basically hand the ball off.
Yes.
Now at that's my question is at that point you don't fully know what's wrong with Purdy. If I'm not mistaken, Shanahan's already come out and said Purdy's my starter next year, no matter what.
Yeah.
Which kind
did before this happened. This
Right.
is now a 6-month injury.
Yes.
I don't
Things
know
have
that,
changed.
I don't think they can go into next season expecting Brock Purdy to be their starter.
No, and I don't disagree.
Along with Shanahan saying he does not expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be with this team.
So now you're going in with Trey Lance next year. That's a whole other story.
No, I don't think Trey Lance is going to be ready to start next season.
Neither do I.
No.
So, but that's the question. At what point in that game do you just say, hey, we're not going to put Purdy back out there because we don't fully know what happened and what's the injury? At one point I thought I heard the broadcast say they were going to put McCaffrey at quarterback.
He was their emergency guy.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose at that point? Just put him in there, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense? And on top of that, with Josh Johnson, I don't think they set him up to succeed. They set him up to be the safety net. At what point do you just say, hey, you need to start airing the ball out at any point? So
it's Josh Johnson.
That's the
you know,
thing.
he's getting thrown into the NFC title game.
Yeah. At 36 years old,
as their fourth quarterback for the year.
They signed him off the Denver practice squad. They brought him on the roster after being
he hasn't
there
been
like
there
a
very
day
long. And
Yeah.
like it's a very tough situation to just go out and say air it out. I think there's not much they could do as far as Purdy being out there. Maybe, you know, that was a part of the conversation. Clearly, you saw Purdy saying, "I can't throw." Like, he told the coaches it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to do it. Obviously, that conversation happened, whether he could go back in and do what he did.
Yes.
And, he was capable of that. Even threw the ball once, you know, here and there, but it just wasn't.
It wasn't the
good.
same. It wasn't the same type of quarterback that we saw for the last, whatever it was, 12 games or whatever he was playing for. So, I mean, or not 12 games, but, you know, the last 8 games or whatever it was. But either way, I get it that they were injured and stuff, but like you said, there were still mistakes made in this. They had missed tackles.
Frustration for them.
Dre Greenlaw is a great outside linebacker, but his temper continued to get the best of him. I mean, when he's punching was it Hurts or whatever it was, had the ball, he's trying to, or Gainwell, I think it was, he's trying to punch the ball out and literally trying to punch it. Like, he thinks there's nothing wrong with that. He's complaining to the ref, and it's like, dude, come on. You know you're doing something wrong.
There's a difference between a ball punch and what he was doing.
Yeah, as Greg Olson said, the peanut punch.
It's not a boxing match. You don't just keep throwing left hooks because you're trying to get the ball. It's
not a body shot, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, chill. But I think the 49ers, even still in this game, like, Brock Purdy plays, it's still very tough to know if they could beat this Eagles team. I know we'll never get to know, but they just played and executed so well. But even still, Jalen Hurts did not, he had some moments in there where it was kind of rough at the very beginning. And until Purdy gets hurt, it was still a fairly close game. So
it was a defensive battle starting this game off. And both sides looked good until we saw what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, even still though, Eagles, the defense stepped up in a big way, and that's what I count as one of their more favorable things they have going for themselves right now is that defense can carry in a big fashion.
Yeah, I agree. They're very deserving of being in the position they are, and they've been one of the best, if not the best team in the league so far this year. So
yeah,
they've earned their spot. They belong there.
Absolutely.
So. And facing off against them will be the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl because they defeat the Bengals 23-20.
Yep.
Mahomes 29 of 43, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a high ankle sprain suffered last week.
Lies.
Okay, this is a 3 to 6 week injury.
Yeah.
If this happens during the middle of the season. And this dude comes out and did what he did, and wow.
What ankle?
Yeah, what ankle? It looked fine to me.
I do question how much of that maybe was like him just kind of, putting it out there to be like, oh, we'll see if the Bengals bite on this or not. I do think he was definitely injured.
He was.
You saw him hobbling.
You saw him in the previous game. They wouldn't have pulled him out of that game.
Serious.
They wouldn't have pulled
him.
They wouldn't have pulled him out of that game for as long as they did and let Henne play if he wasn't that hurt.
No, I don't disagree. But at the same time, you look at him walking onto the field in the game against the Bengals, and it didn't look like anything was wrong with him.
At the same time, I do believe he had like 10 hours of rehab every day up until that game.
Yeah, he was going in for rehab a lot. And even still, you could see that in the longer drives the Chiefs had, there were times where he started to kind of wrestle with his ankle. He was kind of fiddling with his foot, doing the whole wiggle thing and stuff.
There was still you could notice a limp at times,
on the run at the very end of the game to get them in field goal position. You saw him start like giving the hobble hop back to the huddle or back to the sideline really at that point. So he was definitely hurt.
But it's an ankle injury, and ankle injuries don't heal the way that it seemed that it healed.
Right.
He should have probably shouldn't have played the game before after that injury. Because, again, if you look at most athletes who have a high ankle sprain in any sport, they're out way longer than anybody ever anticipates them to be because an ankle never heals the right way.
And a lot of it's pain tolerance. And apparently he's just a lot tougher than you, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
I never said he wasn't.
And also, in fairness, too, like nothing against Chad Henne or anything like that. But, I mean, trusting Chad Henne to win a playoff game is kind of hard considering that this is maybe going to be one of the greatest. Maybe I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest, but you never know. Who knows how his career goes? But he's already got like a bust building in Canton as we speak right now. Like, dude's probably going to the Hall of Fame, guaranteed first ballot, no doubt.
Right.
So for him to kind of sit on the sidelines and say, oh, well, we got Chad Henne. If he feels like he can go, I mean, who are you to argue with him, right? Yes, you're Andy Reid, but he's Patrick Mahomes. You're paying a lot more money to Patrick Mahomes than you are Andy Reid. Like,
He's
sorry.
Awesome. He's awesome.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I don't.
And he did magical things in this game. And I will say, the officiating in this game.
I was gonna say I don't want to get too far into that.
I'm not going on a rant. But it was bad.
I've never seen that
It was
third
bad.
down play. You ran a play, you're going to stop and be able to run another one.
Yeah, this was a rough one.
Never seen
Arian
anything
Foster
like that
was right.
before.
Arian Foster was right. The NFL's rigged.
I'm not going to say it's rigged.
Jesus.
I'm not going to go that length, but this was
Come on, Tom.
This is one of those things where you should not be noticing the refs this much, right? In the playoffs, be it NBA, NHL, MLB, even with the umpires, right? Whatever it is, they should not be making as many calls as they do, right? It should not be the game shouldn't be coming down to them making a call, right? The Joseph Osai thing, I get it. It's something in the regular season you would usually call. I would say momentum carried him forward into Patrick Mahomes. He tapped him. I mean, dude went flying into the stands at the end there, like he crushed somebody behind him, and it looked like he almost tore his ACL from where we were all sitting. So who knows how that plays out. But I would say if you're a ref in that situation, I don't think you make that call. Not in an AFC Championship game where it is tied and you have seconds left, because that clearly changed the outcome, giving him the 15 yards. Butker nails it down the middle. I mean,
guess what? Don't make the mistake. Don't hit the quarterback after you have to at least try and get out of the way.
No, absolutely. Like, you have to be aware for sure.
He's got to be more aware of where they're at and the time in the game,
right?
And what you're trying to do. And you're trying to not make a mistake like that. Whether the call's a call, whether it's in the regular season, the playoffs. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. And by the letter of the rule, the way where Mahomes was when he got hit, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
And he should have at least tried to get out of the way of hitting him.
Right.
And it's hard to say whether that was very possible at that time and where he's at on the field and the speed he's going, but you got to try.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sense of awareness you have to be able to have, but I'm glad that everybody's kind of just like, look, man, we all made mistakes in this game. There was a lot of things that happened. So BJ Hill backed him up, and DJ Reader backed him up, and obviously Jermaine Pratt. A lot of people saw that video.
Yeah,
he since apologized. Like, I'm a bad teammate for that. Like, good on you for apologizing, but like, yeah, don't be berating your dude, man. Come on, you know better than that. Yeah, you have a question, Mr. Student in the back?
Well, yeah, more so just, do you think that if the Super Bowl is impacted by the officiating, like we've seen all playoffs long in most games, to the extent we have, do you think this could go down as the worst Super Bowl ever? And have we ever seen a playoff, NFL playoff, or in any sport playoff, and championship series or games where officiating has been a key factor that has caused who arguably should probably win a game to this magnitude that we potentially could see?
I would say 2005 Seahawks Steelers. I would definitely say that probably ranks up as maybe, and that's not even just in the NFL. That's like overall sports. That was probably one of the worst officiated games, probably in sports history. Like, the Seahawks got hammered with penalties left and right for ticky-tack push-offs and defensive pass interference. Like, everything seemed to be geared towards Steelers win, right? Like, because that's like such a big thing. Buss's last game, right? Jerome Bettis, all that stuff. It just felt like everything was going against the Seahawks and nothing was going wrong for the Steelers. They could just do no wrong. I would say I think that's the one game I can think of. I don't know for you, Drew, but that was one where I was like, so many penalties that cost everybody a chance to stay in the game. Like, I don't know. That's the one I can think of.
I can't think of anything in particular. I just kind of crap calls just kind of bunch themselves together.
It's been bad all year long.
Yeah, it's been really bad this year. But honestly, I think this is going to be a really good Super Bowl.
No,
I think it's going to be awesome.
This is going to be a good matchup. And
I think it's going to be, despite what Kansas City's defense has been, Spagnuolo gets them ready to play for the playoffs.
Oh, I mean,
always. They always step up their game when it comes to playoff time, and they're going to need it.
Yeah, and give some credit to Chris Jones, by the way, for stepping up big in this game. Like, he
two sacks, never had a playoff sack before. That's huge. He's their star on defense.
He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I would maybe say he's the best right now. Sorry, Aaron Donald.
Plus having corners go down and they have all these young players in their secondary, and they did their job.
Absolutely.
Down to Travis Kelce with back spasms earlier, and then coming out and scoring 2 touchdowns.
Marquez Valdez has himself a game. I mean, Juju had some nice clutch catches.
The Chiefs deserve to be in this spot. They have been awesome all season long as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think this, despite what may happen with the referees, I think this is going to be a great Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I just hope that they really have done their research on which referees they're going to bring into this game.
Yeah, because right now, from what I saw, the officiating rating right now is at 61% or 59%. It's dropped now after these playoffs. It's at its all-time lowest, I think, in years at this point.
Just like
in measuring that kind of thing.
Just like players, they have the stats on these guys on missed calls. They look into them.
Exactly.
So find the guys that missed the least amount of calls, have the least amount of controversy on them, and
80 to 85%, and those guys should be in.
We just need Big Papa Pump Ed Hockley to come back,
Throwing some elbows around, taking some hits, and dishing them out too.
Right.
No Phil Luckett? You don't want no Phil Luckett?
Yeah,
That's who we should have been. But yeah, TJ, by the way, just a note. TJ, we did an unboxing with Unpack with the Knack. We got almost 20 referees in these packs.
Oh God.
Yeah. got some well-known ones, but we just referee cars out the wazoo. It was so crazy.
Throw up in your mouth a little?
A little bit.
Did it? Yes. I threw up in. I don't know which one I actually prefer more. Was the anti-drug ones by players?
Yeah, that's right.
The anti-drug ones, the referees, or the teacher of the year.
Yes.
I'm like,
who
you
was
have
the
a card?
teacher? Who was the teacher?
I don't remember who they were.
It's in the car. I'll go grab
it was
later
Paul
on.
Tagliabue. It was in 1991. Paul Tagliabue was giving him the award or whatever. That got a card. I think our favorite one was the Oilers one. It was Brad Childress with the Oilers that said,
nice.
"Don't pollute" or something like that.
Yes, it was. Wow. Yeah, it was against pollution and big Oilers thing right
big
there.
Oilers right in the back.
They don't pollute at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, so I do want those cards so we can blow them up as posters because those are going to be amazing. I want to hang those up around my office wherever I can.
Absolutely,
they're great.
Well. We have this Super Bowl coming up on the 12th, February 12th. So
we got a whole week to go still.
Yep, there should be some fun festivities going on for Super Bowl week and leading up to this game and what I think will be a really, really good one.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I really cannot
Should be a lot of fun. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah.
The best quarterback in the league along with possible MVP this year.
Yeah,
it should be good.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Well, you can get excited about something else because when we come back, we have some fan questions we're going to get to. And maybe we'll let Tom ask a few too. Right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
The Chicagoland area has a large number of lonely dogs currently filling shelter pens, just waiting to find a family. Nothing adds warmth to a home like a wagging tail and a warm pair of brown eyes. If you are considering adding a dog to your household, visit the Anderson Animal Shelter, where adoption counselors can assist you in selecting your new best friend. Make your house a home. Adopt a shelter dog. To see a current list of adoptees, visit their website at www.andersonanimalshelter.org or meet them in person at 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin. Don't have room in the home for a new furry family member? Donations of toys, collars, and soft or hard non-perishable dog food are always accepted and are greatly appreciated. All animals are spayed or neutered and are waiting with tails wagging to find a loving home. Visit 1000 South LaFox Street in South Elgin or www.andersonanimalshelter.org for more details.
And welcome back. We are still here.
Yes, sir.
Tom's still in back, shouting. Yeah,
Always.
Unfortunately.
always shouting. Why?
Because I can.
Okay, fair enough.
Whatever created him broke his volume.
It's a free country.
I mean,
I know why. Sarah's out of town.
yes,
Of course.
I'm free. All right. Speaking of free, we have some free fan questions for you all coming in. Feel free to send us any questions you have at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
We'd love to hear from you. We are going to start here with a question from Alex from Boulder, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton the Peacemaker.
Yep.
Okay. I know you touched on this a little bit yesterday.
We did. I'll keep mine
so
short and sweet. And
I'll dive in a little further than that. But will Sean Payton be the savior of Russell Wilson and the Broncos?
I kind of said this a little bit yesterday. I think he can definitely rejuvenate Russell Wilson. So I think he can at least save Russell Wilson per chance. As for the Broncos, because the Broncos had to give up a first-round pick this year and a second-round pick next year, it kind of puts them at a disadvantage a little bit up until next year. So I don't know if he'll necessarily save the Broncos. If anything, you can say give him stability. I know Alex kind of went into he gave more depth on his question for sure. You don't have to write an essay, by the way, dude. It's okay. Just ask the question. We will answer it. But I get it. You want to have your take, too. But he was saying stuff like, I don't think they're going to – he's like, I know they're probably not going to win the division and stuff, but, like, is there maybe a chance they could? There's always a chance I think they could certainly break through. But Russell Wilson's getting paid a lot of money. You have to probably look to pay Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Are you going to keep Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler? You got to add more to the offensive line. The defense is solid, but who's the defensive coordinator? Like, there's so many questions. So, as far as Russell Wilson, think he'll be able to rejuvenate him. As far as the Denver Broncos, I'll say probably more of a no. Stabilize, but probably not save, if you will.
See, this was a team going into last year before the season that we thought this whole division was going to be full of studs, superstars. All these teams were going to be battling for the top spot. Right. Yeah, a few were going to maybe be a little bit lower than the rest of the group, but we had thought these were teams that, including the Broncos, that were going to be plus teams.
Right.
Win because
we thought the whole AFC West was going to the playoffs.
They have a really good defense. They have a bunch of solid players on offense.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson coming over. Actually, they finally have a quarterback.
Right.
I think a lot of this had to do with first-time head coach Hackett. I don't like to throw all of that on first-time head coach because guess what? The players got to play.
Right.
And Russell Wilson looked awful. Do I think he's done? No. I think he was allowed to have too much say in the things that were going on. You're hearing like Russell Wilson had his own office. He's
right.
He's being a diva you didn't necessarily fully think he was. I think they covered that up some. You heard bits and pieces of it in Seattle, but I think you really got the full extent of it here in Denver.
You definitely saw it blow up this year.
Yes, exactly. I think Sean Payton wouldn't have come to this team if he didn't believe in being able to help Russell Wilson get back to being more of what Russell Wilson has been.
Absolutely.
And I believe in Sean Payton. I think he's an excellent head coach.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Denver Broncos think that as well, giving up the compensation that he did. Definitely heard that the Broncos had two others ahead of him.
Yes.
That said no, and that's what led them here.
Right.
But at the same time, I think Sean Payton's a really damn good consolation prize.
Yeah.
So I think they were trying to avoid that compensation, but at the end of the day, they were like, okay, we need to make the move to get this guy because what else?
Right. Well, yeah, the whole thing was DeMeco Ryans was looking like a top candidate. Clearly, Houston made a nice pitch to him. I know they flew out to Ann Arbor to talk to Harbaugh one more time, and he kind of was just like, hey, thanks, but no thanks right now. So, I mean, Sean Payton, I think, is a good move. Just who's going to be your defensive coordinator?
Well, it sounds like possibly he has talked to Vic Fangio, and if Vic Fangio is willing to come back to this team.
Well, he's already locked in with the Dolphins now.
I don't believe he has been locked in.
Oh, he's not?
completely.
No,
As far as I've heard,
he
has talked with them.
He's only
but
talked with them. That's
nobody
correct.
He's been on, or at least he has
Yes.
not announced officially where he's going to go. I know he's been linked with the Dolphins.
A lot of people are
He's
linking
been
him with the
talked to
Dolphins. You're correct.
with the Broncos as well.
Yeah.
So if he comes here, you've got a team that has a really good defense already.
Yeah.
You've got a team that has potentially a really good offense, which I think Sean Payton is going to have that taken
Absolutely,
care of just
yeah.
fine. We know what we're getting with Sean Payton's offense.
Yeah.
Really good.
And you're getting Javonte Williams back, hopefully,
Yes.
from his ACL injury, which I
Yes.
think was a big part of why Russ kind of struggled. No run game,
Right.
kind of an issue.
They need help on the offensive line, yes, but I think a lot of scheming around that with Russ and having the coach to do those things
Yep.
is going to be a big help. I think he's going to, maybe not in one season, turn the Broncos around, but their record is going to be much improved. They're not going to look like the same team.
No.
Sean Payton's the kind of guy that has everything down, the fine details
Yes.
down pat. Down
He's a
to-
Parcells guy.
Yes. Even to the extent of him going to, this is the kind of music I want playing when we're coming out. This is
Right.
the kind of music I want playing at our practice
Mm-hmm.
for pre-games. Like, he's got all the fine details tuned in to the very minute details.
Right.
So I think he's going to do great things for this team and help them out of their hell.
Yeah.
Yes, Tom?
According to KDH News out of Florida, Vic Fangio to officially accept Dolphins defensive coordinator job after Super Bowl, according to report.
Okay. Well, I mean, who knows? But in that whole
Yeah.
time, who knows?
Until I hear it from Vic Fangio saying I'm accepting this position.
That was as of an hour ago.
I'll say this, because Richard from, or Richard, however you say his last name, from New Orleans, the co-defensive coordinator, is not going back to New Orleans. And he was with Peyton for that short time, so it's possible Sean Payton might be hiring one of his old guys to come back with him, since he says he's not going back to New Orleans. He said he had this group of guys he was going after, and that could be one of his guys. Who knows? You don't go back to New Orleans for a reason.
Right.
I think it's because Sean Payton's probably calling you to say, hey, come to Denver and you can.
And maybe that's because Vic told him he's not coming back there.
It's very possible.
Yeah, that's
Imagine if you could have gotten Kellen Moore as a part of that offense. Might have been something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how good Kellen Moore is. I know David loves him to death. But
I know Sean Payton's good at calling plays.
he is.
So
He's the quarterback guru.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. All right, next question from Mark from Waukegan, Illinois.
He's a Titans fan.
He is a Titans fan.
He is a Titans fan, just an FYI.
I think he might be looking for some Titanic changes.
Yes, he is.
Possibly, but will the Titans look to possibly draft a new quarterback, stay with Tannehill, or try Malik Willis?
This is tough. I thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think Ryan Tannehill is obviously the answer. I like Malik Willis a lot. I think they'll give him a try, but I don't think they will count out drafting a quarterback if a guy is there. Like, if you're saying Stroud or Levis is sitting there, if one of those top three guys is sitting there for the Titans to take, because I don't think they're going to trade up necessarily.
I doubt that.
Yeah,
I seriously doubt that. But
I think they will at least look at the option, but I think they have more pressing matters with the offensive line, with getting another receiver with Treylon Burks, and maybe Woods if he's sticking around. I don't know if he is or not. More defensive backs, definitely. They need more help on the DBs. Like,
big time.
There are other things they need outside of quarterback. I don't know if Malik Willis is the answer. I think he can at least be somebody you can try out and see what happens over Tannehill. I don't think they should be going back to Ryan Tannehill. I know he put up numbers, but it just, time is played out at this point.
Yeah, I think with some of the options once free agency hits, possibility of a trade for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go away from Tannehill as well. I think his time there is done. I don't think Malik Willis is the guy that they're going to just go to now. I think he's still too raw.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of development to still going forward. He has to develop a lot, basically. And I think that only comes with more time. And you saw what you got out of him this year when he had to play.
Yeah.
It's not what they're hoping for out of a starting quarterback right now. So giving him more time, maybe you go a route of trying to get an Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay.
It's possible.
And give Willis more time. Maybe you go get a Jimmy Garoppolo or something for a short period of time if he's willing to sign that kind of a deal. But
yeah, absolutely.
who knows? Maybe it's a Lamar Jackson one and they're not getting his deal. There's many routes that...
There's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be available.
There's a lot of Derek Carr. There's plenty of routes that they could go to try
Zach Wilson.
Figure this... figure this thing out. But
don't freak out on me, Mark. I'm only joking.
I do believe I'm with you. I think they're going to move on from Tannehill, but...
I think you just have to at this point.
I think Malik Willis just needs more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next question for Wesley from Arlington. Arlington, is that Arlington Heights or just Arlington?
I think it's Arlington Heights. I just put in Arlington.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So I if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. You sent the email, so.
Okay. This is. I know there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings on this question and mixed reactions to the player and man himself.
Yep.
But what are your thoughts about how we should remember Bobby Hull?
You know, I've talked a lot about Bobby Hull with a lot of people at this point, and a majority of the people, I think we can all agree to some kind of level of saying that when it comes to Bobby Hull, there is two sides of him, as there is to anybody, right? And we all make mistakes and we all have flaws and everything like that. But when you talk about Bobby Hull as the player, which people can remember him by for sure, he was a great player, Hall of Fame player. He helped the Blackhawks win a Stanley Cup with Stan Mikita and so many other legends, right?
One of the greats.
One of the greats. And obviously, you know, he will be remembered for that fondly here in the city of Chicago by many, as, you know, as other players have along the way, and others will too, with Kane and Taze probably joining the ranks for sure. On the other side of it, though, of course, there is the person. And the person, unfortunately, is a man who is marred by... well, you know, he
did some pretty horrific things.
Yes, he did some awful things with abuse of not one but both of his wives, his children, and obviously there is the whole situation with him going to Germany or whatever the case was and saying he sympathized with the Nazis and Adolf Hitler and all that stuff. I forget what the whole quote was, but I know it was about population control of groups that were certainly not white. So when you hear that kind of stuff, it's hard to envision Bobby Hull as being like this sacred hero, which we said on this show. You and I have said many a times when it comes to these athletes, to promote them as somewhat of superheroes or gods or anything like that, I don't think is the proper thing that anybody should be doing. So when it comes to Bobby Hull, I think the overlapping stories of who he is will be great player, terrible person. And I think that's just a legacy that unfortunately you're going to have to kind of just live with. I know people are going to be like, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but unfortunately, like, the man did some pretty bad things, right? I mean, when we talk about Aaron Hernandez or anything like that, I mean, I know totally different situation, way worse in many ways, or whatever, however you want to take it. But certainly you will talk about him being like, man, he was so clutch for the Patriots, but obviously he was a terrible, awful, monstrous human being that took a person's life, right? Like, unfortunately, there's going to be, what do they call it, the duality of man, right? Or however you want to put it. Unfortunately, that's going to be stigma on Bobby Hull. So, great player, Hall of Fame legend, Hawks player, just a very awful human being at the same time.
I agree. I don't really have much more to add, or much of anything to add to that. It's a shame that those things happen off of behind the scenes of what they're doing. When a player of this caliber gives people so much joy to watch and see the accomplishments that he's had, just to spoil it with these kinds of things.
Right.
And it's unfortunately things that we continue to see in sports.
Yeah.
From way back in that time till now, you're still seeing this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame.
Absolutely.
So there needs to be a lot more change to get these things out of sports and out of our society and humanity.
Yeah. It's and unfortunately we all have I know we all have issues and flaws and problems and things like that. But I mean, there are certain things that you can certainly excuse, and then there are things like these that you can't look past them.
Yeah.
And you have to take the good with the bad.
Absolutely.
They all go in one and the same, unfortunately.
Tom, do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Here's how I think this is going to go down. The NHL All-Star Games this weekend, I do think they do a moment of silence for him. He did revolutionize the game of hockey to what we know now. He is basically the creator of the toe curve of a hockey stick. Yes, the part where the puck goes is called a toe. And the reason why they are curved is because Stan Mikita accidentally got it stuck in a door, and it bent the way that players never bent them before. And now we have curves, and they used to make the sticks of the curve of the toe way more drastic than it is now before the NHL implemented rules. But as that is as far as they'll do it, they'll do a little bit of moment of silence because he is a revolutionary player and was a great player when he played in the league. Now, to go to the Hawks side of this, I don't think the Hawks do what they did with Esposito and Mikita. I don't think they wear a number 9 patch. I don't think they put number 9 on the ice. I think they do something the first game back, which I believe is next Tuesday the 7th at the United Center, but I think that's as far as they go. This is one situation. He was an ambassador. They kicked him out as soon as his comments came out about the Nazis and the Germans and everything like that. He is a known drunk. So there's that factor. I know Stan Mikita, Esposito, and Dennis Savard were way different players than Bobby Hall.
Yeah.
I will say Bobby Hall was a great player. I've seen plenty of highlights from him.
Absolutely.
But I have dealt with him personally, and yes, he's a storyteller, but in those times with storytellers, he blows off everybody else because he has to tell a million stories to 3 people, and they take 2 hours to tell. So by the time you get up there, you don't even get to say a word to him. It's thanks for coming by, and you're pushed out the door. And to me, that doesn't. Yes, I understand. Like he's taking time out of his day to sign autographs for fans, but at the same time, we've all paid money to get your autograph.
Right.
We all deserve the same amount of respect that we're giving you by asking for an autograph. Maybe, hey, like a quick picture, but no, you don't get any of that. And both times I didn't even get his autograph because it was, oh, Bobby Hall's not feeling well, he's got to go. And that's code for it. He's too drunk and he can't comprehend anything anymore.
I'm, again, not a perfect human being by any means, but I would understand too if the Blackhawks kind of just did something really quick and small, because obviously the last thing that the Blackhawks want to do, especially coming off of the whole situation with Kyle Beach and everything like that, the last thing they need to do is put another mark on there that obviously would look bad for them and everything. Like the Tribune got blown up because they put out the tribute article to him that was so very, very touching and everything, obviously, but it mentioned nothing of his, worst background. It was a lot about him as a player. I get it, but still, the man as a whole is still have to be taken, right? There were promos being run on the radio about him and stuff. People were blowing up the score and stuff like that about these things. So I think for Bobby Hall, it's just going to have to be a quick, I will say here, may you rest in peace, Bobby Hall. Thank you for the great memories as a Chicago Blackhawk. And I think I just have to leave it at that.
Recognize him for his accomplishments on the ice and try to forget about him for the terrible things he did off the ice.
As best as we can, and learn from them too.
We would hope so.
Yeah.
We can only hope so.
Gentlemen, I have breaking news.
Breaking news. Tom has breaking news.
Oh, boy.
Bengals Joe Mixon has arrest warrant out for menacing charges and a complaint of misdemeanor aggravated menacing, according to court records. It was filed Thursday in Ohio's Hamilton County. Bengals said they are aware of the charges against Mixon.
Allegedly pointing a gun at a woman and threatening her.
Oh, great.
Wow. Well,
if this is the Sills thing from the Eagles is not enough. And I didn't even want to get into that.
No, we're not getting into this today.
Because we'll be here
Just-
forever. And I don't want to.
Just stupid.
Jesus.
Just stupid.
I get it. You're emotional, man, but come on.
Pull your head out of your ass. Like,
Just one after the
okay.
next after
All
the
right.
next. God.
I'm done. I'm done with that crap.
Yeah.
Really.
Did you have any other?
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We
That's
need
your
to
question. You're done.
No,
What
I do
the
have.
hell?
I have
Yeah,
a fun
you
question
know.
we can end this on.
You don't get any questions.
I have one
now.
fun question we can end this
No,
on.
we're
Oh,
done.
Okay, fine.
We're done, Tom.
Fine.
You ruined
Yeah,
it.
you blew it. Well, thank you all for being here today. It was a lot of fun. It's fun to be back
Absolutely.
hosting and doing this thing. Why don't you tell everybody where they can hear you, find you, see you, listen to you, harass you, which I like to do.
Yeah, you guys can do all of that stuff if you want. I'm at TheFootballGuru on Twitter. You guys can always hit me up on Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. That's where I'm usually at. If you guys obviously want to see more of me right here on X-Bomb Sports, I'm also on Blow the Whistle, Unpack with the Knack. I'm doing producing back there and technical directing for TJ as well. I will do whenever we get your show going. I'll be doing that for Drew. Be in the background, come up here to talk sports more with him. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff start flying at you, so that'll be a part of everything because that's what I do. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. You can find me right here on the X-Bomb Sports Show on Wednesdays and Thursdays, hopefully. I'm kind of relocated further away, so it's making it a little more difficult to make everything.
Well,
on time,
we're gonna be doing some things maybe a little bit different, considering that again, certain things in life are happening that may cause for.
There will be adjustments that need to be made.
Yes.
So I will be here when I can,
Yep.
talking sports and hopefully giving everybody what they want to hear.
Absolutely.
More hot air from this guy. But
I mean,
aside,
it's beautiful hot air, I gotta say.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Aside from that, you can check me out on Instagram at d.gwil25 and Drew Gwillem on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Now, social media. You can find us right here on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube,
Yep.
the usual spots. You know where to find us. If you don't, that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
You're not
What are you
watching,
watching us on
You're
right
not
now?
watching us then
Yeah.
if you don't know.
You should be watching us. We're amazing.
Questions, comments, concerns, yelling at Andrew. You know where to email xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. He
Yep.
loves hearing all the things you have to say.
Well,
Maybe not all of them.
not all of them,
But
some of them can go straight to him if you want.
Don't be a Richard, okay? Don't be a Richard.
Don't be a Richard.
And leave him alone. Okay.
Yes.
As far as the rest go, you can check out Blow the Whistle right here at the desk.
Yep.
And you can also find them back doing radio at sportstownchicago.com.
Mhm.
They do fantastic work. All those guys. Maybe one day we'll get Brandon back.
Maybe. Well, and somebody's got to call him about their hockey podcast.
Listen,
I'm guessing Tom. We don't, you know what?
I need to work on a few other things to get to that point. All right.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll get there, but call him. Jesus.
Also, you can check out Unpack with the Knack with our guy TJ Knacker up
Yes,
here
sir.
doing his thing, finding some hidden gems apparently.
Well, we did. We found another one.
Some hidden gems.
Found
Yeah.
a rare Bill Belichick in a Browns rookie card.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So that
That's
was
nice. Maybe if the guy can win another Super Bowl or win one without Tom Brady, then it might be worth it.
a nickel.
A few schmeckles. Okay. So check him out. It's a great show. He does great work with all of that. It's awesome stuff. Okay, Monday motivation with Hannah B. You know, Mondays suck. She likes to motivate everybody. She does great interviews with lots of people in the radio world.
Mm-hmm.
And now she is one of those people in the radio world. As everyone probably well knows, you can check her out on the afternoon drive at 102.3 XLC, if I can speak.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I've listened to her now on 96.7 The Star with Eddie V in the mornings on my way to work.
She's killing it.
She is killing it. I know I've said this before, but her giving sports news is a complete 180. to
So
wondering who Aaron Rodgers is and Tom Brady. Oh, they're quarterbacks, right? And now she's spitting out sports news like it's nothing.
it's
Yeah,
it's
she gets to
amazing.
talk about Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and
It's-
she sounds like she knows what she's saying.
Yeah,
Which is-
we got to get her back on
Yeah.
here. We got to
most
quiz her again.
females.
We got to quiz her again.
Absolutely. But guys, go check her out. She's doing awesome work. She's budding star. Well, she's a star.
She's a star.
She's a star now.
She's doing hosting gigs. She's
Yeah.
on the under 25 or 25. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
she's everywhere. She's just
She's gonna have a billboard.
a
soon.
rising star, I
Yes.
should say. So yeah, be on the lookout for her face on a billboard, 'cause
Absolutely.
it will be someday. You can check out our guy Brandon at 94.3 WMKR with some genuine country. Yeehaw, yeehaw, Brandon,
Yeehaw.
giving the people what they want out there in Taylorsville. He also, Brandon, does a fantastic podcast, Baseball Banter with Brandon. Dude's
Yes,
one of
sir.
the most knowledgeable baseball guys I've ever known, so or ever heard. So
Yeah.
he's got great work he's doing there.
Mhm.
Ask him any questions you need on baseball. He's phenomenal.
And look out for his hockey podcast with Tom.
Maybe.
We're working on it.
Who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
No,
'Cause
I'm trying
apparently
to
you
work on
haven't
it.
called him yet.
I need to get my studio set up.
Okay. So waiting on.
I'm
you.
gonna keep doing this to you.
You want to come help unpack my one room that I still have fully boxed up?
No.
That you helped move
I
into
helped
that?
you move
Yes.
it.
Waiting
That's
on
all
you.
you get from me.
Yeah.
And last but not least, check out our guys Tony Lopez, Tilo, and 15-year NBA vet Kendall Gill on their show The Parlay. You can check them out at theparlay.com. Combat Sports World is something they're both experts on. So they do great work over there.
It's an
So-
amazing podcast, guys. Go
it's
check
a great
it out.
show. They are doing awesome stuff. So go check them out there. That is it. That's all we got.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in to hear me host this show. It's always fun.
Absolutely, man. You did a great job once
Thank you.
again.
It's been a while, so it felt seemed pretty smooth and seamless for
I
me.
didn't think you
jumping
need the
back.
training wheels. You
Yeah.
just hopped right back on that bike, man.
It's
Like it
just
was-
like riding a bike.
Exactly.
Never.
I don't
What are
know.
we- what are we? 8? Do 8-year-olds use
I don't
training
know.
wheels?
Tom, do you still use training wheels?
We know the answer to
No,
that.
I don't even have a
Thank you
bike.
all for being here. You all have a great weekend. Thanks for coming here. We can't do this without all the fans. We appreciate you. Have a great, safe weekend, and we will see you next week right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.